right, guys, so I'm with Jenny from Creekside Nursery. We are down in Dallas, North Carolina, and I have just walked up to Jenny's beautiful American Coop. And one of the reasons why I wanted to come out and do this video is Jenny has an expertise in growing plants. It's what she does for a living.
It is.
And what I have such a huge appreciation for is it's really an art form. When you're putting all the plants around whatever it is, whether it's landscaping or in this case a chicken coop, it's almost like what color should I choose for making the paintings? So Jenny, thank you so much for having us.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you for coming. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah,
welcome.
So if it's okay, I would love to do a walk around with you and kind of pick your brain.
Absolutely.
All right, so as I was saying earlier, what you have is an American Coop, 4x6 hen house, and you have a 24-foot long run.
We do.
Perfect. And in a way, I feel honored already because you have this beautiful business here. A lot of land, and you have your chicken coop right here next to your home. That again, I mean, this is like being at a museum. Your landscaping here is just gorgeous. Tell us, when did you get your chicken coop? How long has this chicken coop been sitting here?
Not long at all. So it was, gosh, it was this summer, earlier this summer. So I mean, this has only been up for 6-8 weeks. I can't remember the exact time. So it's not been very long at all.
See, that blows my mind. Now, I'm not a plant expert, okay? Everyone knows that. I would think by seeing, I don't know what these are. I can't wait to have you tell us what these plants are, but they're so big and lush. Is that normal for these types of plants, or is that something special you're doing?
No. So we specialize in, we work a lot with Proven Winners. So Proven Winners is a very well-known plant company.
Okay.
And so we grow our plants and then sell them retail to customers. So we know what works really well here. And so all of these are annuals, meaning that they're just going to be alive during the summer. So the first freeze, they're gone.
That's it. Okay.
They're gone. So what I say is an annual, because it is such a short-lived plant, its main job is to be glorious for a short amount of time. So the surrounding the coop, because I told you this is gonna like construction zone still, we're gonna have gardens all the way around that will be the shrubs, the perennials. This will always be annuals because I can get that gorgeous instant color, I can get height, I can get texture, and I'm a little ADD, so every year from 1 year to the next, I wanna do something different.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
all right.
So next year this will look completely different.
I had never thought of that because I have so many questions right now. You know, so we talk a lot about coopscaping, and again, guys, I'm not an expert at coopscaping, but what I always tell people is I think of our chicken coops as the stage, and you guys now get to put up your canvas, you get to put up your props, and what I also love is I've learned there's a lot of benefits to maybe what choice of plants you put around the coop.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, I love how beautiful these plants make this coop, like how it just really completes everything. Yeah. And the other thing I've noticed, you got your chickens in there, which I definitely want to ask you about here in a little bit. Yep. But I already see them, you know, coming over here and pecking away at things. Yeah. So a lot of times when I see people doing some type of landscaping around their coop, they don't put it right up against the coop. This is very different. Tell me about the idea about putting the plants right up against the base of the coop.
So I wanted to do that because the overall design of the garden, I want this garden, because right now, like off to your left, it's pretty open. Like there's a lot of empty space there. That we're gonna bring that garden in, and so we're gonna have like a meandering path here.
Okay.
So of course we put down like a predator guard underneath here. So there's a predator guard, and because that then makes it hard to, you know, plant a plant through that, right? So we raised it up. So we added a lot of great soil here. So it very much is raised. It's higher in the back and then it comes down. So we raised it up. Annuals do great because basically their root systems go out and not super down, but they can still go down. They can still go through that. But I wanted, because we of course chose classic white, right? We painted it a beautiful white. So this is a perfect backdrop for all of these bold colors. Now, because it is covered, the girls get, I call them the girls. The girls have plenty of shade, but the sun does set. It's hottest over here. So I wanted to make sure that they had even a little bit more shade. Shade, sure. So I wanted things up high. And then of course the pollinators. So the pollinators come.
I see bees everywhere.
Bees
which
are
is
everywhere.
So nice.
Yes, and so they can, they absolutely will try to peck through, like, you know, we've got Midnight over here trying to eat part of that. She's right there, you know, and they're trying to get in there and see.
So if we could, let's start right over here. Tell us, if we could, just walk right on down the line. Tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, so these are what we call Mexican sunflowers. And so a Mexican sunflower produces these absolutely stunning, bright orange flowers. It is an annual. Also, all these are going to be annuals. Started these from seed. And so these produce these gorgeous flowers. Pollinators, your butterflies, hummingbirds go nuts over this, like just crazy. So this gives some protection right here for the girls, and they love getting up on their little stumps and pecking through and trying to eat it, and so they just have fun, you know.
So speaking of eating, is it safe to assume all these are edible for chickens, not toxic? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have, what you call this?
Oh, yes, so this was a Mexican sunflower.
Mexican sunflower, okay.
Yeah, now this poor little salvia, something's going on with her. She looks a little rough, but this is the same salvia as the one next door. So this is called Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia, and as you can see, honeybees completely cover that plant.
Yeah.
And hummingbirds love it as well.
Absolutely.
And then this is just good old sweet potato vine. So
this right here.
Yeah. Yep.
So does that mean it's actually growing sweet potatoes, or is it just? It does
have a tuber. So when at the end of the season, once the freeze comes and I dig it up, there will be a tuber. It's not one that you want to eat because it's for ornamental.
A YouTuber, or what do you mean by tuber? That was supposed to be funny.
It is, think of a sweet potato.
Okay.
It'll be big, it'll be massive, but you don't want to eat it. Because potatoes, a potato plant that you do eat, produces really beautiful, lush foliage up top. So your red potatoes, your white potatoes, your baking potatoes, sweet potatoes, they will all produce foliage, and then obviously you eat the potato. But this is something different, so this is an ornamental sweet potato vine. So they come in black, they come in all different colors. So it's a very vigorous spreader. You know, it's swallowing up sweet little chicken right here. I've had to already move her 2 times.
It's just so beautiful. And again, just to remind you guys, you planted these plants how long ago?
At the absolute most, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. I mean, it looks like it's been here.
June. It was June. I could go back and look and tell you the exact date. But it was June, and we're in the beginning of August.
Okay, so moving on down the line.
Yeah, so the sweet potato vine, the salvia, this is a grass. This is called skyrocket grass, and it will do those really pretty little plumes. So skyrocket grass. This is a cleome. So a cleome is what I call one of your grandmother plants in the fact of it's a very old-fashioned plant. However, this is called Senorita Rosalita, and it's sterile and they don't have thorns. Old cleomes would seed everywhere and they had thorns. This does not have thorns. But another is height, right? So we wanted to have things, notice all my tall things are in the back, and I repeat, right? Mm-hmm. So I repeat salvia, there's 4 salvia in the back. There's 3 cleome, there's 2 coleus. So that brings, because basically what I did is when I'm designing it, I stood what I thought was kind of the middle of the bed.
Right.
And then I planted them balanced on each side.
Okay, what did you, this is gorgeous. What did you call this again?
This is a coleus, and coleus is a foliage plant. That's all it does, right? That's the only job is that it produces foliage.
That just means
flowers. No flowers.
Thank you.
That's
I was gonna say
we're bringing it down here, folks. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So there's absolutely no flowers. So it will not do any flowers like this. It is simply.
It doesn't need to.
No, it doesn't.
It's almost trippy-like. Yeah. It is so gorgeous.
You know what its name is? Like this specific one? Wicked Witch.
Okay, that would make perfect sense.
And then looking at it, okay, so Wicked Witch has this dark and then those limey chartreuse edges. So of course you got to put the sweet potato vine.
Oh, absolutely. It makes so much sense what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then we have some lantana in here.
What's the lantana?
Lantana is the yellow.
Okay.
Huge. You'll have butterflies of all shapes and sizes. Will come here. The everything, hummingbirds, butterflies, just go ahead and assume everybody loves these plants.
Okay.
Now, I actually have this lantana on both corners, but my sweet potato vines are taking them over, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. So then we just repeat down through here, all the way down.
Okay, I got you. Wow, it's so beautiful.
Well,
and now that you mentioned the laying out, it's like, I almost feel like just taking that basic idea where you said you're right in the middle and you kind of just lay it out in a pattern, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
And I love the idea about you putting up right against the
Yes.
chicken coop.
Yes.
And just the chickens are in there just having a great time with it.
Yep.
And one of the reasons why I feel that's so important, yes, you're providing shade, you might provide some wind blockage.
Yep.
One of the things when it comes to chickens, folks, you got to always remember, never let your chickens get bored. And here they're having a good old time in there just pecking away at the plants. Now I know a lot of times too, chickens peck as a way of smelling and they're very curious. Is it safe to say they're going in there and it's okay for them just to nibble away at it? Okay.
Yeah, so that it's not going to hurt the plants. It's not going to hurt the chickens. The chickens are very happy in there. And so another thing, so okay, we are in North Carolina. So in the gardening world, we say we're a zone 7B. So that gives us an idea of like how warm or how cold we get. So when you plant, you kind of want to know what your growing zone you are. So in New York, you could be a 5 or a 4. In Miami, you're like a zone 11, right?
Okay.
So the higher the number, the hotter you are. In the wintertime here, I mean, our winters in North Carolina really are not
Pretty
that
mild,
bad.
right.
But the chickens do enjoy the sun on those cooler months. So think about it, in the wintertime, this is all going to be gone. So then they get as much sun in the afternoon as they possibly can.
That's a great point. The other thing is, and I guess this is a question, but I see it as a benefit. A lot of people don't usually put gutters up on their chicken coop, but if they don't, what can happen is you get what I call splashback. And what I love about this is the water, the rain coming off the roof must benefit these plants. Is this going to fall right there?
Yeah.
And you're preventing that splashback, and you're also preventing the erosion.
Right. So and this is not on irrigation. So there is zero irrigation on this. Now the first, I don't know, 2 weeks that we planted it, I had to come up, and we do have a spigot next on the back side of the coop where I would water it. But I have not watered these per se in several weeks. But we've had good rain, which is what we're going to talk about that on the other side, because I have a question for you on the other side of the coop.
All right, actually, I'm excited to do that because I'm seeing some things I'm not familiar with, so I can't wait. I got some questions for you as well, so let's go back there and take a look.
All right.
So Jenny, you were saying you had a question for me over here.
Yes. Okay. So as we say, nothing is flat here at Creekside.
Okay.
Like nothing. And we've had for the past week, off and on, late summer thunderstorms, right?
Okay.
Loads of water dumping down. The coop is higher than the surrounding area.
Yes.
However, you said no gutters. We don't have any gutters. But on this side, we're getting a lot of water, and we are trying to figure out what in the world, like what's the best way, because yes, this is low, and so you can see where this is wet. Yep. But it's not flowing this way. Because
not on top.
Yeah.
It's coming below.
Okay, so what do we do?
Okay, well, if I'm right, which I feel I am upon initial inspection, because it has to come from somewhere. Right. And one of the benefits of having a solid roof run is you're going to keep that fairly dry. Are you going to get sideways rain? Yes, and actually sometimes that can be a benefit. In this particular situation, I see a lot of potential water coming through here. Yep. And I do love that you have the coop elevated, you got it up on a 6x6 base, all that is great. Yes. If that is true, if water is coming through here and going, are we standing on virgin, I mean, if I come down, is this virgin soil here?
No. Well, yes. Sorry, Jerry's behind me. This is virgin.
If that's, wow. Then it might not be coming through there, but let's say it is. What you would want to do is put in a French drain. Yep. Water always wants to take the path of least resistance. Absolutely. It is a lot of work, and I would have to say that may not be an issue, but if you're getting a lot, it could turn into a really big problem.
Well, see how wet that is?
Yeah.
And this is recent. Like this is within the last 10 days, 2 weeks.
So it's fair to say when it's not raining that will dry up? Because I find it interesting. I think I know why. It's right in front of the water bar, but that's also probably because there's a lot of activity there. The chickens are kind of working it. Becomes kind of a low spot. Right. But
because see, underneath the coop, like the house, completely dry. That's completely dry over here.
Yeah, it is fairly interesting. We'll have to look at it a little bit more, but if it is water coming through underneath, you would think it would keep on going. I'm surprised it's pooling up right there. Yeah. But French drains are nice around a building structure. That way the water comes and it goes.
Well, we know a lot about French drains. We've put in one or two around here.
Gotcha. All right, let's take a look inside if we could, unless you had any other questions more out here.
No, we're good. Come on, girls. There we go.
All right, so here we are inside your run.
Yep.
This is so nice. All this headroom, a lot of room for your chickens. I love you got some mulch down inside the soil. Always trying to mimic that forest floor. All right, so I've never seen a water bar like this. Can you explain this to us?
Sure. So with our first set of chickens that we had, of course, we initially were doing just the traditional water, right, with the chickens. And that just got to be a little cumbersome, right? So you want as much as, work smarter, not harder is what I say.
That's right.
Right, so my husband Jerry just got this from a farm supply company. So it was the Schedule 40 PVC, it was a white, but because from our greenhouse experience and growing in greenhouses, the light can still go through that white PVC. So that's why he spray painted it green. Traditionally, we will, all of our irrigation at the nursery, we do black. We just take a black spray paint. So that way it hides it, it keeps the UV light going through it. And so it's green, so it's John Deere green, which probably is not my favorite, but it's very Christmassy here.
So I see you have it hooked up to a hydrant out there.
Yep.
So how many PSI do you think we're...
Lol. You're asking me crazy questions now, aren't you?
So I'm gonna assume we might be around 60 PSI, so that's
Sure.
where this must be a regulator.
It is, and you would be able to read this, but it's flipped around to the other way.
Yeah, so I want to read that because typically you want about, let's say 3 to 5 PSI in the nipples. Now here's what I'm impressed about this. One of the reasons why I've never been a fan of vertical nipples is they tend to leak constantly.
Yep.
Even if it's a little drip, but with like baby chicks, that is great. I love that, we've been standing here for about 5-10 minutes already, and I'm not seeing it leak. And I find this interesting too, that you have a ball valve right there. You can open that up and
blow it out
and purge it. Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. So of course, I mean, even though we are in North Carolina, this will have to get turned off in the wintertime because of the freeze. So with the hose, that's the frost-proof hydrant. So we'll just turn that off, and then we'll go back to just a traditional watering cans type system with the chickens.
You've seen our system, right? So you never have to worry about frozen water?
I don't think I have.
Just like you were saying, work smarter, not harder. I want to make sure people get into this wonderful hobby of backyard chickens. And the 3 major things you got to make sure you do is make sure they got food, make sure you got water, make sure you clean out the hen house. We have solved the problems with feeding. We have solved the problems with water. Even if you're all the way up in the Canada or Alaska, we have a heated water system where you can capture your rainwater or top it off down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit with up to 50 gallons of water, and it works just like a boiler system does, but it makes it so that you have the same exact thing you have here for your chickens, but even in the wintertime, it won't freeze on you.
That's lovely.
Yes, and then because it does circulate, even in the summertime, you could have the water circulating in the summertime to help make sure the water's not getting too warm
hot
and stagnant in there. Exactly, just keep on circulating it.
Nice.
It's really, really nice. We start with the basic system. We also have the full-on rain barrel system, so you might have some type of containment system you want to repurpose.
Right.
You can do that and just do the regular system. Of course, a lot of people DIY. There's a lot of good information out there.
Yeah.
But something to definitely think about.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I really wanted to pick your brain on is one of the big benefits about chickens is what comes out of the rear end. I'm not just talking eggs.
Yes.
I have seen firsthand on accident how well chicken droppings can be when it comes to growing. Can we step outside and maybe take a look inside your hen house and talk about that?
Compost is an amazing natural fertilizer for your plants. So my one concern with, quote, homemade compost litter is to make sure that it's not too hot.
Right.
Obviously, right, because if it's too hot, then you're gonna burn your plants. Because we're on a commercial scale, we don't use a ton of our own compost that we make or use in the gardens because we have to be so scientifically based and reliable. It always has to be the same pH level, the same nitrogen, whatever it may be. So not to say that I won't use this, but for us, because we're so large, it's kind of impossible to do, and we need that consistency and that reliability for our compost.
So, you mentioned earlier you had another chicken coop.
Yes.
And then would this be considered an upgrade?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you this. So it was actually one of our viewers who turned us on to you. So I'm not embarrassed. We didn't know about you, right? Even though you're another in North Carolina and all this. So, but I had a viewer of ours, contact me. They're like, you need to check out Carolina Coops, right? So I was like, okay. So I pop on your website and I'm like, these are gorgeous. Then I was like, I just don't know. Husband Jerry looked at him. He was like, yeah, let's do that. So one of the major selling points.
Oh, I love this part.
Yes. One of the major selling points of this coop is this right here. Yeah. Because we had an old traditional coop, I would have to go in, I would have to shovel it, then kind of walk through the little front area to the tractor or the whatever and haul everything out. And it took forever and it was backbreaking and it was not fun whatsoever. So when we know that we can pull up a machine right here, pull this down, scrape it out, boom, bam, you're done, it's great.
Absolutely. So no, I did not just pay her to say that.
No, he did not. But that is the gosh darn honest truth. I mean, that was, then like there's just how well, like the materials that you use, and then the
high density polyethylene.
Thank you. That was great. So if we need to come in here when we, clean it out, we can sanitize all the things.
So let me ask you this. So again, I have a horrible memory. It was about 8 weeks ago. You finished the coop, or this has been around for about 8 weeks, a couple months.
No, it was like early June. Yeah, so we're talking about 2 months.
Okay, so let's say 2 months, and this is your first time ever using a deep litter system.
Yes.
All right, awesome. And I see you're using industrial hemp, which is my favorite diaper. It's a great source of carbon.
It's yours.
Awesome. What has your thoughts been so far? Have you had to clean it out yet?
No. And in a perfect world, I would come out here every day and turn it. But let's just be honest, I don't live in a perfect world.
Right.
And so I don't turn it as often as I should, but it is a very clean.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
Product.
Camera guy, make sure you get a good shot of this. This is textbook perfect. I love that you got the rope wrap roost bars.
Yep.
This is so nice. And again, I love what you said because guys, it's just that simple. One of the biggest potential chores to having chickens, a chicken coop, backyard chickens, is having to clean it out. You should clean it out every week. Here, you can go over a year without having to clean out your hen house.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about composting. Now, Jenny, you mentioned about make sure it's not getting hot.
Yes.
What I have learned, I'm not a composting expert, that this is a anaerobic style of composting, which means there's no oxygen, right?
Okay, right.
So it shouldn't get hot.
Yes.
But once you do go to clean this out, and let's say we put it down on the ground, it's going into the final stages of composting where now it's going to be introduced to moisture, it's going to be introduced to oxygen. That's when it will potentially get warm.
Okay.
But it also supposedly that certain microbes that create a lot of heat, you got to have a certain amount of depth.
Right.
Which I didn't know that.
Okay.
So a lot of people freak out when we talk about deep litter, like, oh, that's going to be too hot for my chickens, even in the summertime. That's not the case here, right?
No. I mean, the girls love it. Obviously, they're very curious. They come in, they check it out. And I love the fact that, it is very roomy, right? We've got 9 girls. They come up here, they hang out, but they really spend 95% of their day down here.
Yep.
They are very curious because they can't quite figure out why we have the doors open.
Yep.
And so you can see they're trying to figure all that out. But no, it is great. And you'll come out here at night and they're just, chickens, they'll just line up right there and don't even think about flying out, Miss Prissy.
Yeah, we won't let her.
Yeah. We'll all be chasing a chicken around here. But yeah, no, it is not hot at all. One thing I did notice when we put it down is like 0 dust.
Yes.
It was not dusty whatsoever.
So important because chickens do have a sensitive respiratory system. There is, guys, and I know there's a lot of hemp out there you can purchase, and some people ask me, and please ask me, Matt, why does your hemp cost more than someone else's hemp? It's real simple. It comes down to the processing. When you buy hemp from me, where you're buying hemp that has gone through a process that it's more expensive, it takes longer, so that there is next to 0 dust. You can buy the cheaper bales of industrial hemp. They're meant for hempcrete. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Will it still work? Yes, as far as its efficacy of breaking down maybe the droppings, but it may not be the best choice for your chickens.
So this reminds me, talking about the hemp, reminds me about in gardening when we talk about potting soil and your soil amendments. Because why are you going to spend and invest so much time, energy, love into your chickens, your girls, who essentially become, pets?
Yeah.
So then why are you going to go cheap and buy the lesser product? Because you're spending a little bit more money up front, but in the long run, it is massively so much better for everything. The girls are happy, you know, and so spend that little bit of extra money and get that great product. Otherwise, you could then be faced with a lot of problems.
Yes.
They're going to cost you,
it's going to cost you more in the long run.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
You folks out there, if you ever get the opportunity to be in this area in Dallas, North Carolina, not Texas.
Not Texas.
We're just, what, maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of Charlotte.
Yep, we're just west of Charlotte, absolutely.
A great place to stop by and purchase your plants. And the other thing, see, I love entrepreneurship. I get so excited about this. You were mentioning earlier that you can start shipping your plants for people that, if they're watching right now out in California.
Absolutely. So this fall, so we are a retail garden center. So we have folks that travel really from all over the country because we have a YouTube channel. So we do 5 videos a week. So we have...
What's your YouTube channel?
So it's Gardening with Creekside.
Bring it up right here. Okay.
Gardening with Creekside. That's also our website. So we do 5 videos a week of things like this. So you can go back and see exactly when I planted that bed, and I'll walk you through what exactly we did. So you can go back, and we do a lot of just real life gardening. We show you, as we say, the messes and the successes.
Yeah,
right?
Nice.
And so you can come here. We're open Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 3, and come check us out. And we'd love to help you, and we have fun around here.
Yeah, check out that website. Jenny, thank you so much.
Yes.
You're the best.
Thank you, Matt.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, guys, I hope you loved this video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down here in the comment section. We'll see you next time. Later.